is the strongest defense force member in the entire Kaiju No.8 series? Is it Kaiju No.8 himself? Or maybe Soshiro Hoshina? Could it be Gen Narumi? What about Isao Shinomiya or even Mina Ashiro? Well, let's break it down. But before we begin, if you've seen our previous video, you already know how this works. We'll be ranking each of them from S+ tier to D tier, where S+ is the absolute strongest and D is the weakest among them. Now, let's start with Iharu Furuhashi. Originally a member of the 3rd Division alongside Rino Ichikawa, Furuhashi shares a friendly rivalry with Rino that pushes both of them to grow stronger. After the destruction of the 3rd Division's headquarters, the two were transferred to the 4th Division under Captain Jugo Ogata's command. During the entrance exam, Furuhashi's initial release force from his combat suit was 14%, which later increased to a base combat power of 24%. However, his most significant ability is being a flash adapter, which allows his release force to dramatically increase to an impressive 88% when he's in a high-pressure situation or in the zone. According to Captain Ogata, if Furuhashi masters this ability, the raw power generated from his sudden surge could even surpass Rino Ichikawa. And to back that up, during a 4th Division training match, Furuhashi was the only one able to step in and protect Rino when Rino's kaiju weapon overwhelmed him. So for him, B rank. We talked about Iharu, so it's only fair that we talk about his rival next, Rino Ichikawa. In the beginning, Rino worked alongside Kafka as a monster sweeper, a job focused on cleaning up kaiju remains. Like Iharu, Rino was first assigned to the 3rd Division and was later transferred to the 4th Division after the destruction of the 3rd Division base. From the start, Rino showed incredible promise. During his initial test, he achieved an 8% release force from his combat suit, an impressive feat for a newcomer. With intense training, that number jumped to 18% within just 2 months. But Rino's real breakthrough came when he was chosen to wield Numbers Weapon Number 6, a suit crafted from the corpse of Kaiju Number 6. And here's the crazy part. No one in Defense Force history had ever been able to master Number 6. It was said to be incompatible with all users until Rino. Somehow, he was the only one capable of synchronizing with it. This granted him cryokinesis, the ability to manipulate and weaponize ice. With his powers, he can freeze enemies on contact and even wipe out entire kaiju swarms with fortitude levels up to 8. In terms of raw power, his output while using the suit has reached 51%. He's even fought through fractured bones and torn muscles just to keep going, showing insane levels of endurance and resolve. That said, Rino still hasn't fully mastered the suit. Even reaching 51% takes a huge toll on his body, causing severe internal muscle damage. So, while his potential is sky high, the cost is just as high. So, considering all that, we're placing Rino in the A tier. Next up, Jugo Ogata. This is the man who deserves to be the captain of the 4th Division, the same division where, as we mentioned earlier, Rino and Iharu were transferred to. While the manga hasn't shown him in a full-fledged battle, his position alone and the respect he commands from the other elite captains like Mina Ashiro speaks volumes about his strength and competence. Also, just so you know, this man has survived countless battles, including the massacre involving Kaiju Number 6. While his base combat power is generally low, it can spike exponentially when he enters a state of intense focus, similar to what we mentioned with Iharu, making him an exceptionally dangerous opponent when it counts. So, keeping that in mind, B rank is good enough. Next, we have Soichiro Hoshina. Well, as you might have guessed from his name, he is the older brother of Soshiro Hoshina and the captain of the 6th Division. He's confident in his own abilities to take on a Daikaiju level threat, and he's also known as the cornerstone of the Western Divisions, much like how Gen Narumi is considered the cornerstone of the Eastern Divisions. And since he comes from the Hoshina family, a renowned clan of swordsmen, Soichiro is one of the Defense Force's strongest blade specialists. He's been highly skilled in swordsmanship ever since childhood, earning praise from both his father and brother, and he used to consistently defeat Soshiro in their sparring matches when they were younger, although now Soshiro has finally surpassed him. Well, nothing more to say here, so I guess A rank is good enough for him. Next up, Mina Ashiro, childhood friend of Kafka Hibino and basically his true love, although we didn't get to see their marriage in the end, which was kind of disappointing. But let's just focus on Mina for now. She's the captain of the 3rd Division and is widely recognized as the strongest female captain in the Defense Force, having neutralized hundreds of kaiju throughout her career. According to Director General Keiji Itami, when it comes to giant kaiju, Mina is is even stronger than Gen Narumi, further stating that she's the only person in the world who can operate such large-scale weaponry with unmatched precision. Itami even theorized that if Mina had been active 10 years ago during the Kaiju No. 6 incident, the damage could have been reduced to less than a third. When it comes to her combat stats, Mina's released force reaches an astounding 96%, making her one of the highest-ranked officers in terms of power output. She mainly engages in long-range combat, thanks to her insane marksmanship and mastery over her personal cannon. Her shots carry immense power, as seen when she effortlessly took down a massive kaiju. She also has her tiger, Bako, to help stabilize her aim, allowing her to hit specific kaiju weak points with surgical accuracy. But despite all these strengths, I still won't rank her any higher, because as good as she is from long range, she struggles in close combat. Even Kaiju No. 9 pointed this out, stating that in close quarters, she's no different from any other commander, and in a real battle, you can't always count on being at a safe distance. So, keeping that in mind, I'll give her an A rank. Next up is Soshiro Hoshina. Now, Hoshina is the vice captain of the 3rd Division, and the strongest swordsman in the entire Hoshina family. According to his father, even at a very young age, Soshiro would have been considered a prodigy back in the Edo period. Thanks to his extraordinary swordsmanship, he's a true master of the Hoshina Ryu sword fighting style, making him an expert in close quarters combat, which perfectly complements Captain Mina Ashiro's long-range fighting style. His maximum release force while wearing a regular combat suit reaches 92%, and mind you, he was already insanely strong before getting a numbered weapon, as we saw when he managed to cut through the ultra-durable hide of both Kaiju No. 8 and No. 10. That's something even most officers can't do with custom gear. But once he got number weapon No. 10, he was able to push his suit's power all the way to 100%. While the weapon initially reduces his physical stats due to its sentient nature, Hoshina's ability to synchronize with it even briefly unlocks devastating potential. In his fight against Kaiju No. 12, a monster faster and stronger than No. 10, Hoshina was overwhelmed at first, but mid-battle, he adapted, unlocked a new sword form, and even managed to overpower the creature before finally defeating it. And even after all that, despite the odds, he was still holding his own against Kaiju No. 9, fighting alongside Gen and the others, while Captain Ashiro wasn't even able to land a close-range hit on No. 9. So yeah, call me biased if you want, but I'm putting Hoshina in S rank. Next up, we have these two guys, Haruichi Izumo and Aoi Kaguragi. To be honest, we don't know much about these guys, but let me just give you a quick rundown. Haruichi Izumo is the heir to Izumo Technologies, one of the leading anti-kaiju weapon manufacturers. In combat, he plays more of a support role, using his sharp judgment to back up his enemies effectively. His maximum release force is 36%. On the other hand, Aoi Kaguragi is a physically strong and highly promising member of the Defense Force. He originally transferred from the Japan Ground Defense Force with the goal of protecting people more directly. His maximum release force stands at 25%, so with that in mind, we'll rank both of them at C rank. Now let's talk about the main star of the show, Kafka Hibino. Kafka, also known as Kaiju No. 8, came into existence after unknowingly swallowing a mysterious parasitic larva. His lifelong dream was to join the prestigious Japan Anti-Kaiju Defense Force alongside his childhood friend Mina Ashiro. But after repeatedly failing the entrance exam, he gave up on that dream and settled for a job as a kaiju corpse cleaner, a role that, while unglamorous, gave him deep practical knowledge of kaiju anatomy and their weak points. He initially joined the 3rd Division, but in his human form, Kafka is almost powerless, barely able to draw out 1% of his Defense Force suit's capabilities. However, when he transforms into Kaiju No. 8, everything changes. His kaiju form boasts a fortitude level of 9.8, the highest ever recorded in the series. In this state, Kafka can atomize lesser kaiju with a single punch, move at hypersonic speeds, and casually dodge high-velocity attacks. His raw power is so overwhelming that his battles shatter military-grade bunkers built to withstand insane levels of force. His body is insanely durable too, capable of tanking hits that would vaporize most monsters, and even if he does get hurt, he regenerates instantly. Later in the story, after uncovering the truth behind the 400-year-old curse and choosing to carry the hatred of the fallen samurai, Kafka's heart transforms into a kaiju core, allowing his body to channel the spiritual energy of those ancient warriors. That's when he unlocks his final form. In this state, Kafka can withstand massive massive Meireki-era attacks without a scratch. His strength, speed, and durability scaled to near planetary levels. And now, in the manga, Kafka has finally defeated number 9. So for Kafka Hibino, we'll obviously be ranking him S+. Next up, Kaiju Shinomiya. Now, Kaiju Shinomiya is a special case. She's arguably the most prodigious rookie to ever join the Japan Anti-Kaiju Defense Force. She initially joined the 3rd Division alongside Kafka and Reno, and her talent was clear from the start. In her entrance exam, she achieved a 46% released force on her first try, far above the 5 to 12% average. That soon rose to 55%, and during the Kaiju No. 10 attack, she was considered the 3rd strongest at the base, just behind Mina and Soshiro, assuming Kafka's Kaiju identity wasn't taken into account at the time. After Kafka's secret was exposed, both were transferred to the elite 1st Division, the strongest division in the entire defense force. What makes Kaiju even more impressive is her rare compatibility with multiple numbers weapons, including number 4, 1, 2, and 7. After receiving weapon number 4 from Captain Gen Narumi, her powers skyrocketed. She could now fly across vast distances, spar with Gen even while he was using a numbers weapon, and defeat kaijus with fortitude level 7 like it was nothing. But that's not all. In the recent manga chapters, Kaiju pulled off one of the most clutch feats in the entire series. She used Kaiju No. 1's core tracking ability to locate the true core of the fully unleashed Kaiju No. 9. And let's be clear, this wasn't some basic core. Number 9 had multiple cores harvested from various kaiju. Pinpointing the real one required insane levels of precision, judgment, and focus. And despite all that pressure, Kaiju nailed it, helping Mina and Kafka deliver the final blow to end number 9 for good. So we will be ranking her on the S tier. Next up, Eiji Hasegawa and Rin Shinonome. Let's talk about Hasegawa first. He's the vice captain of the 1st Division, which, as I mentioned earlier, is the strongest division in the entire defense force. And by that logic, being the vice captain of such an elite unit already implies that he's a powerful combatant. That said, we don't really know much about him yet, but we do know that he often takes on leadership responsibilities, especially since his captain, Gen Narumi, tends to have a more carefree attitude. On the other hand, we have Rin Shinonome, a platoon leader in the 1st Division, who is strong enough to neutralize multiple kaiju on her own. According to Gen Narumi, Rin has the potential to become a captain in the near future. She's capable of drawing out 73% of her combat suit's power, which makes her a serious threat in battle, even against high-level identified kaiju. So, based on what we've seen, we'll place both of them in B rank. Next, we have Isao Shinomiya. Isao was the Director General of the Defense Force and held absolute authority over the entire organization. In his prime, he was hailed as the strongest soldier in the history of the Defense Force. Although now, due to old age, he had grown weaker, and his current strength was just a mere shadow of its former glory. Despite this, he was still strong enough to fight on par with a berserk Kaiju No. 8 and nearly kill Kaiju No. 9, two of the strongest kaijus in the entire series. Even Gen Narumi, the current captain of the 1st Division and widely regarded as Japan's strongest anti-kaiju combatant, openly admitted that he could never defeat Isao. Now, coming to his weapon, Isao wielded weapon number 2, and although the exact percentage of synchronization wasn't explicitly revealed, it's implied that he could unleash nearly its full potential. With this weapon, Isao could generate sonic blasts, form shields, and release devastating energy attacks, capable of almost obliterating number 9, who outright admitted even my powered-up body couldn't properly withstand that attack. So yeah, despite his age, Isao was still an absolute monster. S+ rank. Next, we have Keiji Itami. Now, this guy was basically appointed as the new Director General after the death of Isao Shinomiya, and that's pretty much it. We don't really know anything about him, except that Keiji has remarkable leadership skills, able to defuse tense situations between hot-headed division captains with ease. He also shows impressive intelligence and observation, quickly grasping the situation at hand and acting accordingly. But since we're ranking characters based on their powers and abilities, and we haven't seen him do anything combat-wise, we'll just have to place him in D rank. Finally, at last we have Gen Narumi. Well, as I've already mentioned multiple times in this video, Gen Narumi is the captain of the 1st Division, the strongest unit in the Defense Force and known as Japan's strongest anti-kaiju combatant. And while I previously said that Gen was never able to beat his former mentor, Isao Shinomiya, there's a solid reason behind that. Isao saw Gen's potential to surpass him someday and kept pushing himself through relentless training just to remain a wall that Gen would eventually overcome. Now, the numbered weapon Gen uses is from Kaiju No. 1, a terrifying kaiju whose attacks were said to be completely inescapable. With this weapon, Gen gained enhanced vision, allowing him to see through living beings, pinpoint their weak spots, and essentially predict their moves in combat. It's basically combat precognition, something very similar to how the Sharingan works in Naruto. As a Defense Force captain, Gen is capable of unleashing 98% of his combat suit's power, which gives him immense strength, speed, endurance, and durability, a feat only a handful of fighters have ever managed. During his fight with Kaiju No. 11, who was specifically created to counter him, Gen evolved his weapon and foresight to such an extent that he could literally see the future. Thanks to that enhanced precognition, combined with his overwhelming physical stats, he managed to defeat No. 11, who had a fortitude level above 9, and in doing so, finally surpassed Isao Shinomiya. Later, even when he was at his absolute limit, Gen was still standing strong and fighting against Kaiju No. 9 alongside Hoshina. And in the final chapter of the series, Hikaru herself admitted that she still hadn't surpassed Gen yet, though she vowed to one day. So with all that in mind, Gen Narumi goes straight to S+ rank. Click on this video next, where we rank every strongest kaiju in Kaiju No. 8 history. Go on, check it out.